Hello and welcome back to Rams Talk Podcast. And we're here on a really exciting day for Derby because Derby have brought in a new number 9. We brought in Salverson in January. He couldn't be the one man to do it all. So we brought in Carlton Morris from Luton. Not sure on the fee. I think we were chatting about this, me and Adam, before, about what we thought the fee could be. We're not sure, but whatever it is, Derby have got a player who can get goals in this division. So, as I mentioned him already, Adam Driscoll from the Oak Road Hatter podcast joins me today to tell us all about Carlton Morris, a man who's seen him quite a lot over the last few years. How you doing, Adam? You good?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jake. It's didn't really expect to be having a conversation around Morris leaving us, but we'll go into that and kind of look at what he's done for us, and I guess what you guys can expect to see from him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's go right back to the start. So Carlton Morris, I remember him at Barnsley. I remember him possibly being a little bit too good for that Barnsley team. Obviously, a Barnsley team struggling at the bottom, and he got his move for what, just over $1 million to Luton. And 2022, he went on to score 20 goals. I mean, when he first came in, what were you thinking? And did you expect him to sort of hit the ground running so well?
Oh, well, I mean, I personally didn't. I think we paid sort of 1.3 mil, which for us is a decent fee now, let alone pre-Premier League era. And yeah, it wasn't like a glitz and glamour goal scoring record for a forward. So you thought, okay, what's he bringing attribute wise rather than goals? But there's no doubt that he hit the ground running. I mean, you look at that sort of 22-23 season. I think September he was the Championship Player of the Month with 4 goals in the month. When I look back at the season and particular points that he contributed, we broke a lot of kind of hoodoos that season. Everyone knows, and we'll come on to the success that we had, but he scored really important goals. So we won away at Norwich. We smashed QPR at their place around sort of Christmas, New Year time, which our record against them has been abysmal for a long time, and that's a secondary rivalry for us, really. When you exclude Watford, looking back into sort of the start of 2023, we won away at Sheffield United in March, and everyone's thinking, well, actually, there's a real belief here that we could get top 2, let alone a top 6 place. So that wasn't quite to be, but he scored some really, really crucial goals. And then when we look at the run in towards the end of the season, he scored 4 in our last 6 to kind of cement that playoff place. Obviously saw us finish 3rd. And then everyone knows, and it's well documented, what happened in the playoffs. And, he didn't score in the final or in the 2 semi-finals, but he was the first player to step up in that shootout out of either of the 2 teams and tucked his penalty away. And, I think you can say what you want about players taking penalties, but the pressure of a playoff final, 90-odd thousands, whatever it was at Wembley that day, and he stepped up and tucked his penalty away. So, yeah, the first season as a whole was brilliant for us. 20 goals and an extremely quick impact from him, which gave us a lot of us the best day of our lives following Luton.
Yeah, I'd take a day like that. There haven't been many for Derby, apart from getting out of League One, which I'm sure you might experience towards the end of next season, getting back out, I hope. But I mean, looking at that goal record, it's that first season, 28 goal involvements, 20 goals, 8 assists in all competitions, followed up by 11 goals, 5 assists in the Premier League, which again is a really good return. And then last season, it sort of dipped off a little bit, 8 goals, 3 assists in all competitions. I mean, he's very consistent. He's obviously getting over 10 goal involvements. Derby only had 1 player last season that got over 10 goal involvements, which was a big part of why we were struggling down at the bottom of the league. What is it about him that is sort of makes him a magnet for goals and assists? What's his sort of style of play?
Yeah, I mean, what you guys are probably going to expect to see is a striker that is better and enjoys playing with his back to goal. And a lot of old school fans like to see a striker that's on the shoulder of a defender that will nip through and get on those through balls. He's not really that sort of forward. I think about someone that's got Luton and Derby connections in that mould, and it's like a Jack Marriott. That's not him. He is very much a get the ball into him. He's got a defender on his back. He is bringing other players into play. And I think for that reason, he's a good player that can play in a two up front. He's thrived with Adebayo for us at certain times. But equally, we saw in the Premier League season quite a lot of rotation between him and Adebayo, as well as them playing together. So, he's someone that will play back to goal. He's strong, he's powerful, he will press, but he's equally as good as a lone striker and then getting into the box as he is, playing alongside someone else as well.
Well, that's it. And that's something Derby have lacked. I don't know if you remember Chris Martin, who played for Derby. He was very, very good in sort of like 2013 to 2015, had a second really good spell towards the late 2010s. And we never really replaced him. He left during COVID, and Derby have never fully replaced him. We've not had a striker since then that can bring the ball down on his chest, play another player into play, give the wingers and the attacking midfielders. Because last season, Derby had so many problems. We had Jerry Yates up front, great guy, worked really hard, but he was quite small. He's only 5 foot, 5'7", 5'8", and he couldn't hold the ball up. And it ended up with, if Derby had players running from midfield, more often than not, the ball wouldn't come to them. So a player like that can hold the ball up, bring attacking midfielders into play, bring wide players into play, it sounds really positive, and I'm sure everyone listening to this will be maybe a little bit more excited hearing that sort of thing. Because, if we could have Chris Martin back, that'd be nice. Get Martin and Morris, that'd be a decent front two as well. That'd certainly be nice. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit there. Looking at his best role, would you say that sort of back to goal striker, sole number 9's his best, or do you think he was better in that too?
It's a really tough call, and it's hard to say that he's better on his own because of how the connection that him and Adebayo had. But what I'm saying there is, I'm talking about specifically Adebayo. I don't know, and I haven't seen him work with anyone else really, because it's been him and Adebayo that have been our success, and they've both been at the club for a while. So it's really hard for me to sort of say, oh yeah, he works in a two with anybody. Now I don't know what you guys will play, whether you will play, an Adebayo type with him. So it's a hard call, but what I would say that probably provides some reassurance to Derby fans is that, he can certainly play as that lone striker, providing you've got the width and you're getting supply into the box, and also providing you've got that kind of, in the hole type attacking midfielder that can sweep up around as well. So he's certainly adaptable. And I think at 29, he's still probably got a good 3 or 4 years, I would say, at that level at least.
Yeah, and that's it. It's a good age, isn't it? He's right in his prime, obviously coming off the back of a few good years in front of goal. So yeah, there's definitely something to be positive about. But you mentioned a couple of moments earlier in the show, Adam, where you talked about that penalty at Wembley, a couple of goals. But is the one moment that stands out? One moment that sort of, when you think back and you think about him, you think, yeah, that was something that really got us off our feet and really got us going.
That's a good question, because I look at what he's done for us and some of the accolades, and he first game in the Premier League season scored a penalty against Brighton, and so he has that tag of first top flight goal since '92 and our first in the Premier League. He scored against Everton away in our first win in the Premier League, so he holds a lot of those titles. And I think really I would probably have to say my memory would be that away Everton goal, where I think we everyone knows we are quite direct at times, but you've got Alfie Doughty who pings a cross in, and he peels off a free kick, and he peels off the back post and puts it in the far corner. And yeah, I think for that goal to contribute to our first Premier League win, and at a ground as historic as Goodison, which we know is not going to be there for men's football, that really stands out for me as a highlight of his time with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that very well. Yeah, I think everyone outside the Premier League was cheering you guys on that season. Yeah, you had some team at that point, didn't you? Ross Barkley. Maybe we need to bring him in next. That'll be the next one to to sign. You never know. Next question, I guess, is quite an important one, and one thing that's always it's kind of made it. Our previous management made a big point of this. Was the ones to bring in players that are the right people. You didn't want to bring in any mavericks. Didn't want to bring in anyone that had sort of upset the dressing room. What's he like as a guy?
I mean, I don't claim to have ever met him, but from what I gather, he's a really genuine guy. I don't think he's what I would associate as a modern day footballer with, an ego and people in his ear. I think he's a genuine. I know what I want, and I'm gonna stick to those principles. I think he was our captain most of last season, with obviously Tom Lockyer not being on the pitch. And I think he does have leadership and experience. I think his leadership last season for us didn't work very well because we were struggling. We were struggling to create chances. We were struggling to score goals. And for me, the pressure of him leading the team on the pitch from that high up the pitch kind of took away from his focus of top end of the pitch activities. And I don't think it particularly worked very well from a leadership perspective. And I've voiced that quite regularly on our own podcasts, that we need someone that's a centre half or a centre mid to be that leader and let him do what he does. But I think, there's no doubt he'll bring leadership and experience to you guys. I think he is better, not as captain, but, he will, as I say, he will bring that leadership and experience and that voice on the pitch as well, which is something that every team really needs. I mean, multiple people really, but certainly through the spine of the team, you need that organisation and that voice and that experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Derby have got a few young players sort of coming through and looking to bring a few younger players in, especially out wide and in midfield. So that'll definitely go a long way. You can never have too many, can you? You can never have too many leaders on the pitch. So, yeah, that'd definitely be good. And my final question for you, Adam, is what do you expect from him at Derby? And do you think he'll be a success here?
I do think it'll be a success. Yeah. I mean, last season didn't go to plan for us at all. We kicked into gear around February, March time, which clearly is just too late. And that proved to be the case. But I do think it'll be a success because I think for him, this is now like a fresh mindset. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have preferred to have kept him from a perspective of his ability in League One, and the need for us to now go and replace him is obviously there for us. So I'd rather have kept him, but I do think it'll be a success. I think for him it will be a shift of mindset. It will be my time at Luton's been predominantly good, but we're moving on from that. He's got a new focus. He's got new players around him to work with, and clearly you guys are trying to be more ambitious and positive in the window that you're not in a battle like last season. So I think he'll do well. I think you guys will see a good player. You'll see a physical, strong forward that is willing to put the hard yards in. And look, as football fans, we'd love to see goals from a forward, and you guys will be saying, well, yeah, if we can get 20 goals for us, then great. But ultimately, you want to see someone that works hard. And for the most part, that's what we've seen at Luton from Morris.
Yeah, again, that's exactly what Derby fans will be looking forward to. I think a proper out-and-out number 9, gets goals, leads from the front, and puts that hard work in. I think Derby fans, I don't know if all football fans are like this, a lot of them value hard work over everything else. So that's a really big part of that as well. So that's really good to hear. Thank you, Adam. Really appreciate your time talking through this. People want to hear more from you guys. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so we're on all social media channels at Oak Road Hatter. So we are going to be hopefully looking at a pre-season pod in the next couple of weeks. I think our boys came back to training today, so there's a little bit more to talk about. So that's where Luton fans can find us, at Oak Road Hatter, on all social channels.
Great stuff. And yeah, like I said before, hopefully you guys can get yourselves back out of League One. We know how horrible it is. We don't want you there for too long. So, and you're a great away day as well. So we don't want to lose that. The Domino's Pizza away stand or whatever it's called now, which is
absolutely.
So thank you so much for listening. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe. We do one of these for all new players that come in. If you want to learn a bit about them, and people like Adam come on and help us out, which we're very grateful for. And yeah, if you listen on Spotify, please give us a rating as well, especially if it's a good one. So thank you very much. Hopefully Derby have got a proper goal scoring number 9 in. It'll be nice to have one of those. We've not had one for a little while.